Have you ever wondered what the world would be like if it were run by Lois Griffin? I'm not just talking about being mayor of... what if she built an entire city from scratch? A metropolis for 500,000 people, all designed according to her personal vision. It sounds like a cutaway gag, right? But let's seriously dive into this. What would Griffintown actually look like? First, let's talk urban planning. Lois is, at her core, a suburban mom. So, forget dense, towering skyscrapers. The heart of Griffintown would be a sprawling, Immaculado Suburbia. Picture endless cul-de-sacs with perfectly manicured lawns, white picket fences, and identical two-story colonial houses. Each home would have a pristine garden. Because Lois would insist on winning the Garden of the Month award every single month. The city's motto, displayed proudly at the entrance, would probably be something passive-aggressive like, "Welcome to Griffintown! We're not mad, just disappointed in other cities." Transportation would be interesting. Public transit. Lois would probably find it a bit Instead, everyone would be expected to drive a sensible, safe minivan. The speed limit would be a strictly enforced 25 miles per hour everywhere, and every intersection would be a four-way stop just to be extra cautious. Traffic jams would consist of drivers politely waving each other through in an endless, frustrating cycle of courtesy. The only exception would be the Peter Lane, a single, chaotic road with no rules. Designed to contain her husband's destructive driving habits in one designated area. Now, let's consider the economy of Griffintown. The primary industry would revolve around things Lois approves of. Think artisanal bakeries. Boutique wineries because she enjoys her mommy juice and an overwhelming number of piano schools. The main employer would likely be Griffin Homewares, a massive corporation selling slightly overpriced but tasteful home decor. Every citizen would receive a Lois loyalty card offering discounts on Chardonnay and potpourri. Unemployment would be non-existent. Not because of a booming economy, but because Lois would personally call your mother if she heard you were just sitting around all day. The laws and governance would be where things get truly Lois. The city council would just be Lois talking to herself in a series of different hats. All major decisions would be made over a cup of tea at her kitchen table. Crime would be dealt with swiftly and passive. Instead of jail, minor offenders would be sentenced to Disappointment Island, which is just a bench in the town square where Lois sits and sighs loudly at them for an hour. The most severe crime, wearing socks with sandals. The punishment would be a mandatory, citywide intervention about your life choices. Education would be paramount. The Lois Griffin Academy for well-mannered children would be the only school system. The curriculum would focus on piano, proper elocution, and the subtle art of the backhanded compliment. History class would be rewritten to feature the Griffins in every major historical event. And that's when great-great-great-uncle Thaddeus Griffin suggested to Mr. Lincoln that he should probably free the slaves. It was just a polite thing to do. Art class would be exclusively painting fruit bowls, and gym class would be replaced with power walking while gossiping. What about culture and entertainment? The Griffintown Amphitheater would exclusively host piano recitals and community theater productions of The Sound of Music. The only TV channel available would be a 24/7 broadcast of Lois's favorite home renovation shows, occasionally interrupted by a citywide address where she reminds everyone to separate their recyclables properly. The city's official anthem would be a gentle piano melody, the kind you hear in a fancy hotel lobby, and every citizen would be required to hum it softly while in public. But here's the twist. What about the other Griffins? Lois can't build this city without them leaving their mark. Meg would be in charge of the Department of Public Grievances, a tiny, soundproofed office in a basement where no one ever visits her. Chris would be the head of the city's art department, but all of his evil monkey murals would be immediately painted over by Lois with a tasteful beige. Stewie, naturally, would be running a secret, underground city beneath complete with advanced weaponry and a plan for total domination, which Lois would be completely oblivious to. And Brian? He'd be the city's official intellectual, hosting a perpetually empty book club and writing scathing online reviews of the local coffee shops. And Peter... Oh! Peter! Lois would design a Peter-proof zone, a contained area with a clam-style bar, a Pawtucket Patriot Brewery, and a giant foam pit. It would be designed to keep him entertained and, more importantly, away from the rest of her perfect city. He'd be the official minister of shenanigans, a title that gives him zero actual power but makes him feel important enough not to tear the whole place down. So, would you live in Griffin? On the surface, it's safe, clean, and incredibly polite. The lawns are green, the crime rate is 0, and you'd never have to worry about loud neighbors. But beneath that placid surface is a world of quiet judgment and crushing conformity. It's a city built on the foundation of what will the neighbors think. Living there would be like living inside a giant, passive-aggressive Christmas letter. It's a fascinating, terrifying thought experiment, isn't it? A city in her image. It would be perfect, and that's precisely what would make it so utterly insane. What do you think? What other weird rules would Lois implement in her perfect city? Let me know down in the comments! I'd love to hear your ideas. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the mind of a cartoon matriarch, please hit that like button and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching, and remember to always fold your napkins properly.